Welcome to Love and Desire from the Sanctuary of Self, Rosicrucian Order Library, Part 1 of 2 on Words of Wisdom. The ancient mystical order Rosicrucis, also known as the Rosicrucian Order, AMORC, is a worldwide cultural, educational, and philosophical organization that is perpetuating the profound and practical teachings of the Rosicrucians. These teachings, as passed down and added to over the centuries from ancient Egypt to Europe and now all over the world, pertain to the mysteries of the universe, nature, and humans themselves. The Rosicrucian Library is a source of spiritual wisdom and insight that includes the important writings by the respected imperators of the order, such as Dr. Harvey Spencer Lewis, Ralph M. Lewis, and Christian Barnard. Now we will read from Chapter 4, Love and Desire, from Part 1, The Mysteries, in Frater Ralph M. Lewis's book, The Sanctuary of Self. We will learn about the three kinds of love and the nature of each. Love and desire. Love is perhaps the most perplexing to mankind of all his inner experiences, and yet it is one had by every individual to some extent. Love is not a product of the it, is not an intellectual achievement, but an emotional, psychic one had by the self. Because it is such, love has been idealized by the poets and bards to such an extent that most persons believe that it is something to be left to a chance experience or to be mysteriously attained without formula or method. Loves are of various kinds. In Sufism, Mohammedan mysticism, God's love is said to be expressed in man's love of the divine. It was God, according to Sufism, who made it possible for man to love the divine, and so, when man expresses divine love, a love of God, God is really loving himself. When man therefore denies himself divine love, he is restricting the nature of God, and Sufism therefore holds divine love to be the most exalted. Dudum, Mohammedan mystic, asked what is pure love, love free from depletion. Then he replied to his own question for the enlightenment of his disciples. He said that it is love of God, because the love of God is so absorbing that no other love can compete with it or detract from it. He further said that this love of God, pure love, is a disinterested one. By that, he meant that it is not affected by benefits which may accrue from it. In other words, one who has this pure love will not love God anymore because of what may flow to him as a result of it, nor will he love God any less because it will require him to make sacrifices to love his God. Al-Ghazali, Mohammedan philosopher and mystic of the 10th century, taught the Islamic mystical doctrines in Baghdad. He distinguished admirably between three kinds of love. The first is self-love, and that is engendered by the instinct of self-preservation. Though many mystics and philosophers have execrated this self-love, he holds that it is very essential, because at least we must love our existence sufficiently to want to be. For if we do not, we cannot experience any of the other loves. The second is a love of others, because of the benefits which they bestow upon us. It is a natural love, and in a sense it is somewhat the same as the first, or self-love, such as our love, for example, of the doctor, because of his healing art, or our love of the teacher because of the instruction which he expounds. The third and highest love, according to Al-Ghazali, is the love of a thing for its own sake, not for any benefits which may be derived from it. The thing itself is the essence of its enjoyment. It is liked for its own nature, just as the essence of beauty is the delight which we derive from it. He uses the analogy, the love of green things, the love of running water. These are not always loved only for the reason that green things may be eaten or that running water may provide a drink, but they are also loved for the mere sight of them, for their own essence, for the beauty which exists within them. Al-Ghazali concludes with, where beauty exists, it is natural to love. If God is beautiful, most certainly he will be loved by all of those to whom he reveals himself, and the more beautiful a thing, the more it is loved. Plotinus, father of Neoplatonism, who contributed much to the world's mystical doctrines, also declared that there are different loves. For example, the love of creation, as the craftsman's love of his work, the love of a cabinet maker for his work, or of a goldsmith for the fruits of his art, or of a student for his studies. The highest love, says Plotinus, is the hierarchical love. It is the love of the universal soul within us for the absolute, for the oneness of which it is always a part. The physical nature of man is one aspect of his generally accepted triune being. There are factors which are essential to it, such as food, drink, shelter, and sleep. When there is a deficiency of them, there is unbalance. The plenitude or fullness of man's physical nature is its normal state. This normalcy is accompanied by the sensation of gratification, a kind of pleasure which we know as happiness. When there is a deficiency, a lack of that upon which man's physical being depends, we become conscious of an irritability or of a disharmony. This disharmony engenders desire. Each of our objective or receptor senses has an ideal or a quality which is sought after. We desire fragrance in smell because it is pleasing to us. We desire sweetness in taste, likewise because it is pleasing. We desire certain harmony of sound because it is pleasing to the ear and to the nervous system. The things which represent these desired qualities are attractive to us. We say that which is symmetrical in form, or the colors of which are appealing to our sight, is beautiful. By beautiful we mean the things of a visual experience which are pleasurable to our sense of sight. Fragrance to the sense of smell is thus a kind of beauty, for it represents the ideal of harmony to that sense. Likewise, then, sweetness is a kind of beauty to the sense of taste. Beauty is just a name for that which is pleasurable to the sense of sight. Each sense has a corresponding quality or beauty which is desired. Anything which will bring pleasure or gratification to a sense is by another name beautiful to it. Desire, then, is the urge to find the beautiful or its equivalent. It is the seeking out of that thing or condition which will satisfy that nature which the desire serves. Ever since man has speculated upon his own complex being, he has most frequently considered himself of three natures. First, physical, second, intellectual or mental, and third, spiritual. However, he has often united the first two as one. The three natures, therefore, constitute the hierarchy of the human being. All the three blend into each other, and yet they have distinctive characteristics. The desires of the body are thus the loves of the body. To practice self-abnegation, to suppress the loves of the body, is to corrupt one of the natures of man's triune being. Such loves are essential to the physical. They assist it to be wedded to that ideal which will maintain the harmony of its essence. Man must realize, however, that the end of life is not merely the satisfaction of the physical desires. To pursue these physical loves alone leaves unsatisfied the desires of the other natures. It keeps man continually in distress. As Spinoza has said, griefs and misfortunes have their chief source in an excessive love of that which is subject to many variations and over which we can never have control. Nor do injustice, misfortune, enmity, etc. arise except from the love of things which no one can really control. In effect, this means that we should know the limits of the ideals of the physical, love them only for what they are able to provide and to the extent that they serve the body, and not continually to pursue them for themselves, for they cannot satisfy the whole nature of man. Humane viewers, it was an honor to have your company for today's Words of Wisdom.